Swiper gang! We back with another episode. Welcome back to the channel. We are dropping brand new content. I know it's been a long time coming. I know you've been waiting. I know you've been asking on Twitter, Swiper Cam, when's the next video coming out? Well, you know what? Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for your patience, y'all. We about to get the good times rolling again, y'all. We just completed the NBA playoffs. Giannis Antetokounmpo putting on a historic, absolutely historic NBA Finals run. The Milwaukee Bucks, hey, congratulations to the small market. Congratulations to the city of Milwaukee. Congratulations to the great state of Wisconsin. You got one superstar all-time player making his mark in the city in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you got another leaving the bridge. But you know what? We ain't going to talk about that right now. This is the basketball video. Let's go. As you can see in the title, in the description, this ain't no regular video. We going to talk about the top 30 players in the NBA during the 2020-2021 season. And boy, oh boy, do we got a show in store. Y'all, get comfortable. Settle in, get comfortable. Y'all, if you're waking up in the morning and you're watching this video, make sure you put this video on your drive to work. Make sure you get your coffee. Make sure you get your croissant. Make sure you get your breakfast. If you're watching this somewhere else and it's about to be dinner time, make sure you got a nice warm meal ahead of the time. And make sure you lean back in your favorite chair because it's time to talk about NBA basketball. We got the Olympics going on. The off season is here. We are 3 days away. 3 days away from the NBA draft. Who is going where? Is Cade Cunningham going to Detroit? We're going to find all that out. But tonight, we're talking top 30. Tonight, we are getting an unbiased, unfiltered look at the top 30 players in the NBA right now. Let's get it. So the way this is going to work, we're going to start off from 30 and up. Now, let me put some qualifiers in here. Some players have stepped up in the playoffs. They will be up a little bit higher normally, but right now I'm keeping it in the regular season. Some playoffs included, but it's not fair based on the injuries and stuff that we had. We're talking about regular season, starting with 30. The number 30 overall player in the NBA this season, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I know a lot of folk have a lot of issues with the way Ben Simmons has been playing, but here's the facts about Ben Simmons. He is not an offensive player. He does not shoot the ball when he needs to. He's timid at times, especially in clutch moments. You can make an argument that had he stepped up against the Atlanta Hawks, the 76ers would have won that series at least in Game 7, if not sooner than that. So I understand his flaws, but the fact of the matter is he's a multi-time all-star player. He's an all-defense player. He's a top 3 candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. And if he tries, he could be a top 3 candidate every single season. He can win a Defensive Player of the Year at some point in time. He's a 6'10", long, athletic freak of an athlete. So all the flaws, great defender, offensive creator, again, not for himself, but he gets other people going. So I like Ben Simmons at number 30 overall in the NBA. Number 29, Ja Morant. I don't know. A lot of y'all don't get a chance to watch the Memphis Grizzlies. They're in a small market. They barely made the playoffs this year. They're a real young team. They got a lot of young dogs on that tool. I'm talking about Dillon Brooks, Ja Morant, JJJ, Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, even slow man himself, Kyle Anderson. Like, they got some players, Valanciunas on that roster. They have some good players. They got some people they drafted this year. You know what? I think Memphis is on the up and up, but Ja Morant is an elite athlete. He is Russell Westbrook when Russell Westbrook was just getting started. He's an explosive athlete, great facilitator, great dimer. I think that you can argue that he has been one of the top 30 players in the NBA last season and going forward. That man was a problem this season. I got Ja Morant at number 29 overall. Number 28, Russell Westbrook. I know a lot of folks don't like that man's game, but the facts are the facts. For the last 5 seasons, he's averaged a triple-double. This year, he averaged another triple-double. Again, Washington wasn't great with him on the floor. I get it. I understand it. But you can't tell me Russell Westbrook isn't a top 30 player in the NBA. He was a great this year in the regular season. Again, you can't trust him great in the playoffs. But again, he was a good clutch player. Look it up. He was a good clutch player in the regular season this year. Bradley Beal likes him. He has respect around the NBA. Again, he's a flawed player. Can you win a championship with him as your first or second best player? No. But again, if Russell Westbrook was able to channel himself a little bit, say he got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, say he got traded to the Miami Heat, if he could just channel some of that, he would be a problem. But again, Russell Westbrook, number 28 overall player in the NBA. Number 27, Jamal Murray. Now I get it. Some of y'all thinks he should be higher. Some of y'all think he should be in the teens. Some of y'all don't think that he should be in the top 30 list at all. But I'm here to tell you that Jamal Murray took a leap in the regular season. We already saw what he did in the bubble, averaging 26, 5, and 4 on 45% shooting from 3. We saw how amazing he was in the playoffs. We know how good he is in the clutch. Bleacher Report put an article out this year that Jamal Murray was one of the top 5 clutchest players in the NBA. In the NBA. The man had a 50-point game versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in which he had 10 of 12 three-pointers, shot 21 of 25 from the field. It was the first 50-point game in NBA history without shooting a free throw. Jamal Murray had a lot of clutch baskets versus the Phoenix Suns this year in both of the games that the Denver Nuggets won. He had a clutch basket versus Chicago Bulls to tie the game and then put them ahead in overtime. Jamal Murray was lethal. When Jamal Murray was healthy, with Will Barton, with Michael Porter Jr., with Aaron Gordon, and with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray was leading the best team in the NBA for a 2-week period. So Jamal Murray made a major leap this year. We all got robbed from seeing him go into the playoffs and do his thing and really see what he had to do about Chris Paul and Damien Lillard and possibly Kawhi Leonard again and all that, and then even get into the Bucks with Jrue Holiday. So we're hoping and praying he comes back healthy. But Jamal Murray, 27th best player in the NBA. 26, Rudy Gobert. Now, once again, another one where people are saying he's too low. Some people are saying he needs to be higher. But the facts are the facts. That man, Rudy Gobert, was another, I think, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. So here's the thing. Rudy Gobert is a great player. Rudy Gobert is the linchpin behind why the Utah Jazz were so good this year. Now, Donovan Mitchell arguably is their best player. But Rudy Gobert is the engine behind that team. He keeps that defense solid. He's a great role man. He keeps you honest in the roll, in the pick and roll. He is actually a very good pick and roll defender as well as a big. Rudy's very flawed though. But really the reason he's so high is because he's Defensive Player of the Year. But he doesn't have much of an offensive game, which is, again, what cost him in the playoffs. But you're not going to find many bigs as good as Rudy Gobert in the NBA. So Rudy Gobert, 26. 25. I got Chris Middleton at 25. Now, once again, Milwaukee Bucks fans, I get it. Chris Middleton was amazing this year in the playoffs. Chris Middleton had the most clutch baskets in the NBA playoffs since LeBron James. Chris Middleton at the last 2 minutes of a game, even if he was having a terrible game, that dude was hitting clutch buckets. You would have thought he was Michael Jordan. I mean, Chris Middleton played very well. He was a key cog in why they were able to win the NBA Finals against the Phoenix Suns. He played very well in the Nets series. He played very well leading up into the finals, and then he gave you a lot of clutch baskets, and he played defense when asked. So Chris Middleton played really well. He's the number 25 overall player in the NBA. Number 24. I know folks is not going to like this one, but Devin Booker. Devin Booker, 24th overall best player in the NBA for me. Now, again, y'all, a lot of that talk about is he the next Kobe Bryant and all that, that was really irksome for me because, again, I think Devin is very good offensively, but the facts are the facts are the facts. I don't know how much further I could put Devin Booker in front of Jamal Murray, given that Jamal Murray has been, if not just as good, but better in the playoffs and in clutch time situations. And on top of that, I think Devin Booker is a very good player, but he's still very limited. He's still negative on defense, but a very, very good player. But I think a part of the conversation surrounding Chris Paul and his MVP candidacy, it lends itself to the fact that Devin Booker apparently wasn't the best player on his team in the playoffs. I think he was, but I think Devin Booker has a little bit of ways to go. I would say this. Devin Booker is my number 24 best player in the NBA. Zach Levine is my number 23 best player in the NBA. But here's why. I think you can flop these two, especially with the playoff performance that we just saw. But once again, y'all, Zach Levine was a first vote for an All-Star this year in the Eastern Conference. Devin Booker was an alternate for the second year in a row. Zach Levine was amazing and efficient this year. He was healthy. He was shooting great. He was athletic, getting to the basket. He was facilitating. Again, he doesn't play great defense. He wasn't always great in the clutch. But Zach Levine was the best player on his team by far. And he played really well, and he played very efficiently. So I know you can probably switch them, Devin Booker and Zach Levine. But Devin Booker at 24, Zach Levine at 23 for me. Number 22, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is a two-way monster. This is the best year of his career this year. Really, honestly, man, I mean, there are times of the year where he looked like he might have been playing better than Jayson Tatum. He was super efficient on offense, played clutch defense. Once he went down with the injury that put him out the rest of the year, the Boston Celtics, they had no chance in the playoffs. I think Jaylen Brown has star potential. He already is an all-star caliber player, but I think he can be a really, really good key cog. And again, you know, if he does stay with them, you know, I think he's going to be a big piece of the Celtics franchise going forward. But I really, really like Jaylen Brown. So number 22 overall best player. Number 21. Iceman Trae. Iceman Trae Young. Did you see the playoffs this year? Did you see what he did to Madison Square Garden? Did you see what he did to the Philadelphia 76ers? Did you see what he did to Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle? Did you watch what he did against the Milwaukee Bucks and Drew Holiday? Man, Trae Young, he proved that he had doubters that didn't think that that small of a man and that small of a frame could do work in the playoffs. Well, hey, look, get your head up, because Trae Young was out here putting the shivers on folk in the playoffs. So Trae Young, number 21 overall player. Number 20 overall, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was the best player in the Utah Jazz, in my opinion, this year. Donovan Mitchell is great. He is a humble star, leaning towards becoming a superstar player in the future. He is not big at all, but he is quick twitch. He plays hard. He's tenacious, and he is the creator and operator for the Utah Jazz, and he led that team to a number 1 overall seed this year. Donovan Mitchell carried over from the playoffs last year in the bubble, carried it into the regular season, and he was excellent this year. So Donovan Mitchell, 20 overall. At 19, Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal was second in the NBA in scoring on the year. He's one of the best scorers in the NBA. Bradley Beal's only 6'3" at shooting guard. He's undersized. But when Bradley Beal needs to play defense, he can. But he's one of the best pure scorers in the NBA. He can get to the basket, hit the three-pointers, step back, crossovers between the legs, behind the back. Great ISO player. He can push some people in the post. He is a very, very good player. Bradley Beal, again, man, all-NBA player. I think he got third-team all-NBA this year. So Bradley Beal is my number 19 overall player. 18, Jayson Tatum. Look, y'all, Jayson Tatum is a problem. Jayson Tatum led the Celtics this year. Again, they got hit by a lot of injuries. They got hit by COVID. The team underperformed. They had a bunch of stuff that was happening that wasn't directly his fault. But Jayson Tatum was a great player this season. He was the number 18 overall player in the NBA for me this year. Jayson Tatum is a very skilled player, tall, long, rangy. He's really what you're looking for from a small forward in today's NBA. He's what you're looking for, 6'8" shooter. He can play defense when he needs to. He can play defense. Like, he's not great at defense, but he's a good defensive player. He locks in, great shooter. Again, get to the basket. I mean, where would the Boston Celtics be without them? I mean, think about the Philadelphia 76ers took Jayson Tatum in the 2017 draft. So, I mean, the dude is great. He's special. I mean, you really can't find a lot of small forwards except for the elite of the elite better than him in the NBA, and probably anyone else ahead of him in the NBA. They're all superstars at small forwards. So, and Jayson Tatum is on the cusp of entering that category, especially being as young as he is. So he had a 50-point game in the playoff this year, I believe, as well. So I think he's one of the youngest players to ever do it. So Jayson Tatum, 18 overall. Number 17 best player in the NBA, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving put up, I believe, a 50, 40, 90 year. He didn't play the entire season, but Kyrie Irving was a problem. He's one of the best He's one of the most watchable players in the NBA just because of his handles, because of how he gets to the basket, his elusiveness, the ability that he has to hit contested layups, hit contested shots in the paint. Kyrie Irving is an absolute joy to watch. Had he been healthy, had he not twisted his ankle against the Milwaukee Bucks, we likely would have been talking about a Milwaukee Bucks winning the NBA Finals, because that's how good Kyrie Irving was playing this season. And when he was healthy, they beat the Bucks by like 49 points or something like that. So, man, Kyrie Irving was amazing this season. Loved what he did. Loved what he had to do this year. Kyrie Irving is my number 17 overall player this year. Number 16 overall, Chris Paul. Chris Paul maybe had the best year of his career, at least in recent memory. Chris Paul, again, didn't averages. His averages weren't popping off the screen, but he helped the Phoenix Suns go from missing the playoffs to making the NBA Finals. Now, I am not one of the ones that push Chris Paul as MVP. I think the idea of giving the Chris Paul the MVP over Joel Embiid, over Damien Lillard, over Steph Curry, even over Luka Doncic, I can't vibe with that. I don't see how you can make that argument, but Chris Paul was a great player this year, second team All-NBA. You know, he wore down a little bit in the playoff, but that's because he's 36 years old and he's smaller. He's about 6 feet tall. But Chris Paul had an amazing year, was great all season. Chris Paul did what he needed to do to help the Phoenix Suns become the best team in the West, really, for a period. They were second in the final standings in the regular season, but they played well this year. Chris Paul, number 16 overall player. Number 15, I know some folks ain't going to like this one. Zion Williamson. Y'all, nobody since Shaquille O'Neal has averaged more points in the paint than Zion Williamson did this season. Zion Williamson's like 6'6". He's a locomotive down below. He's one of the most unstoppable forces in the NBA, bar none. Bar none. Zion Williamson averaged like 26, 27 points per game this year, only like 6 rebounds, but he was literally unstoppable this season. One of the highest effective field goal percentages in the NBA. Again, the Pelicans weren't great. They didn't make the playoffs. There's rumors going around that Zion wants to be in a bigger market, which again, you know what I mean, we'll find out what happens with that. But being his second year in the NBA, being as good as he was, all NBA caliber player, Zion Williamson is my number 15 overall best player in the NBA this year. And again, I think you could make argument for some of the people behind him, but based on what I saw from Zion this year, take the name away, Zion was likely the 15th best player in the NBA this season. Now, this is also controversial as well because, again, I have him here as an asterisk. This is not just based on this season, but this is based on if healthy, I would have Klay Thompson as the 14th best player in the NBA. But, again, go ahead, take it out. If you don't want to include him right now because he's injured, you can take it out. But, again, if he were healthy, if this whole season came down to healthy players, if the whole season, everybody was healthy this year, I got Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is number 14 overall player in the NBA. You know, people forget, I know he's been out for a year and a half, but really 2 years. But Klay Thompson, man, is a problem. Flat out problem. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, one of the best 3 to 4 shooters ever in NBA history, if not top 2. I have Klay Thompson there. Number 13 overall this year, PG-13. Paul George was excellent. Paul George was excellent in the playoffs too. Paul George has some, you know, he missed those free throws, which cost him a game versus the Suns. Paul George was really good in the playoff this year. When Kawhi went down, you know, everybody thought that they were going to get rolled in the playoffs, but Paul George stepped up, and he showed a lot of those Indiana Pacer days, really regular season OKC days from 2018, I believe. So Paul George played well this season. Again, 13th overall best player in the NBA this year. I think Paul George deserves his respect. All NBA caliber year, one of the best small forwards, shooting guards in the league, period. Paul George, number 13 overall. Number 12 is Jimmy Butler. I think for me, Jimmy Butler encompasses everything you would want from a player. He's the tenacious defender. He's an excellent offensive player. He had a down year a little bit in some ways this year. But again, I think had he been healthy, this is exactly where he belongs. He is a player that you can ride. Again, I don't think to me he's a number one option. I think he's a number 2 option in the playoffs to get you there. But again, he took to the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals last year, so I give him his respect. Jimmy Butler, number 12. Number 11, Anthony Davis. A lot of people want you to believe Anthony Davis is a top 5 player, y'all, but I don't see it. Anthony Davis is a great player, all NBA player, future Hall of Fame player, walking 28-12 when he's healthy. But Anthony Davis has not and cannot be a lead dog on a team, and a good winning team at least. Anthony Davis doesn't have the mindset. His body is a little too frail. He's an excellent two-way player, maybe with Giannis, the best two-way player in the NBA, but he does not have the ability to do what the players ahead of him do, meaning lead teams to be successful, lead teams to winning records by himself, lead teams into the playoffs, or even deep runs in the playoffs. He doesn't have that ability. I think Anthony Davis is the best Robin that we have in the NBA, the best number 2 player in the NBA by far. So Anthony Davis slides down to 11 for me. Now we get into the top 10 players in the NBA. At number 10, Damien Lillard. I don't know if you had a chance to watch Dame time this season. Damien Lillard was a monster this year and should have gotten more MVP votes based on how he was carrying that team in Portland. Damien Lillard put up one of the best playoff performances I have ever seen in my life when a game against the Denver Nuggets in Game 5 in which he hit 10 three-pointers. I'm talking about the dude was hitting stuff from half court. The dude was hitting step-back fadeaway threes to tie the game. Damian Lillard is by far one of the best players in the NBA, an excellent, excellent player, one of the best offensive players of this generation. Damian Lillard has been great for years now. This is one of my favorite years watching him play. Damian Lillard, number 10 overall. At number 9, best players in the NBA, Joel Embiid. Now, I think Joel Embiid deserves a lot of love for what he did this year. He played 52 games this year. He was arguably the second highest candidate for MVPs in the NBA. Joel Embiid is a monster inside the paint. Shot like 36% from 3 this year. Shot like 86% from the free throw line. When Joel Embiid, when he's healthy, he's unstoppable. When he's healthy, he's amazing. I think that's always going to be a part of his career. Unfortunately, it's just if he's healthy. But I love Joel's game. He gets a lot of free throws, a little bit too much foul hunting for me at times. But again, man, Joel Embiid is amazing. Amazing. I'm only complaining about him sometimes that he'd be a little bit more physical inside. But once again, he's proven that he can take the 76ers very far. He needs a number 2 man, but Joel Embiid has proven that he can take the 76ers places when he's healthy and available. Number 8, best player in the NBA this year, Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is the 8th best player in the NBA for me. Luka Doncic is second and third year now, first team All-NBA, and he's a baby. Just getting started. Luka Doncic might average a triple-double soon. I think when Luka Doncic gets a secondary player, it's going to be a firestorm for everyone because he's that good. He's excellent. He's one of the best offensive players literally the NBA has ever seen at the age that he is. Luka Doncic has been playing pro basketball for years, and it shows. He's killing for Slovenia right now in the Olympics. And, man, I'm really, really excited to see what his future looks like. Luka Doncic is a problem. Number 8th best overall player in the NBA. Hopefully Jason Kidd can help right that ship in Dallas because we would like to see him stay with Dallas. But Luka Doncic was amazing this season, man. You got to give him his flowers. ESPN picked him as the preseason MVP last year. I believe they have him preseason MVP predicted for this year. I think he's of that caliber of player. But, man, Luka Doncic is excellent, man. So, no complaints. Yeah, he's just excellent. Now, we move into what I call the superstar territory. I think that these 7 players, they all have won MVPs. They're all in their prime. And this is what I would qualify as superstar players, meaning they could be the best player on championship winning teams. Number 7 in the NBA and best players in the NBA, James Harden. When James Harden was healthy this year, I think he averaged 25 points per game, 12 assists per game. And it just was unreal what he was doing. James Harden, obviously, he ate his way out, jokingly, of Houston. No longer wanted to be there. They were rebuilding. They didn't have a lot of talent on the team. Again, part of that is because, they traded in Chris Paul, Dwight Howard, and then Russell Westbrook, and it all fell apart. And they just didn't have the pieces anymore. But once he got to Brooklyn, he was looking like a top 5 MVP candidate this season. James Harden is just one of the best offensive players in NBA history, averaged 36 points per game a year ago, basically. I know people find him annoying, but he is literally a basketball genius, the way that he plays basketball. I know a lot of the foul hunting and what he does and the antics and stuff like that people don't like, but the thing is he takes advantage of the way that the game is called, but he also knows how to just get to the foul line. It's an art, and he might be the best artist at it that we've seen in recent memory, because just even him getting to the basket, the way he sweeps his arms through, whether it be three-pointers. But that's the thing. Everybody's so timid with James Harden because it's like you get too close, you're going to foul him, or you jump too far, you're going to fall into his three-pointer or a pump fake. But if you play too far off, he's going to get you with the step back. But if you get too close, he's going around you. And if you reach, he's going to lock your arm in that cradle, and he's going to get up to the basket. So James Harden is excellent, man. Had he been healthy, I think they would have won the NBA championship this year. But again, James Harden, number 7 best overall player in the NBA. Number 6 best player in the NBA, Kawhi Leonard. I think that Kawhi is an excellent player. Kawhi Leonard is, when he wants to play defense, the best two-way player in the NBA possibly. He can't do as much for fives and centers as Giannis can, but maybe perimeter defense, there might not be anyone better. Kawhi Leonard had his best offensive year, really had his best career year this year and last year, but Kawhi Leonard is excellent, man. He just turned 30, I believe. He is one of the best mid-range shooters we've ever seen in the NBA. The dude can hit his three-pointers. He hits his free throws. He gets to the basket. He'll bang on you. He'll also lock you down. But even his help side defense is elite. Kawhi Leonard is literally a free safety on defense. He is just excellent. Kawhi Leonard is by far, he's just one of the best players in the NBA. I have him number 6 overall. I think he's absolutely a bona fide superstar, 2-time champion, 2-time finals MVP. But I think that there's clearly 5 players that are just better than him at this point in time in his career. There are just 5 players better than him at this point in time in the career. So that's that. This is controversial, you all. So this is not when healthy. But I'm trying to put together the top 30 players in the NBA with this regular season, but also when they're healthy. It's a combination. This is what this list is, a combination. Here are the top 5 players in the NBA. The number 5 overall best player in the NBA, LeBron James. LeBron James. Now, qualifier. LeBron James, if healthy and playoff LeBron, is the best player in the NBA, and I don't really think it's all that difficult to see. LeBron James is the best overall player in the NBA when healthy, but he isn't, and he's also older. He's 36 going on 37 years old. He's coming off another injury, and especially with Anthony Davis being banged up next to him, I don't know what the ceiling is for him at this point in time in his career. This is not to say that playoff LeBron doesn't show up when we need him to show up. I think LeBron is going to come back, have an excellent year, maybe another 25-7-7 year. But LeBron James, at this point in time, with the injuries, the missed games, there were just players that were better than him this year. And I think LeBron James is going to be the number 5 best player in the NBA based on where he was last year, but also where we're going forward with the NBA. I have LeBron James, 5th overall, best player in the NBA. The number 4 best overall player in the NBA this season. Y'all ready? Number 4 best overall player in the NBA, Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry had a brilliant year. Steph Curry, maybe his April was one of the best months we've ever seen from a player in NBA history. Steph Curry is the best shooter in NBA history. That 62-point game he had versus the Portland Trailblazers was phenomenal. It was just phenomenal. Steph Curry is amazing. He was by far an MVP candidate. He was not the best player in the NBA, even though folks would try to tell you that, ESPN especially. But Steph Curry was amazing this season. He is proving why he is a generational talent. I think Steph Curry is a top 15 player all time. He's edging towards top 10, maybe number 12 or something around there right now. Steph Curry was the number 4 best player in the NBA this season, and I think that he deserves everything coming his way. Steph Curry, the number 3 best overall player in the NBA this year, especially when healthy. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis has done something that not many people can do. Giannis is the best offensive player on his team and the best defensive player on his team. Giannis is a 2-time NBA champion, a 2-time NBA MVP, 1-time NBA Finals MVP, 5-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. His resume at the age of 26 stacks up with basically Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Wilt Chamberlain. Really, there's not anyone matching him. LeBron didn't have the accolades and numbers. Michael Jordan didn't have the accolades and numbers. He literally is a freak of nature. He's one of the best people in the NBA. Giannis is by far one of the best 3 players in the NBA at this point in time. Giannis is one of the 3 players that are the future of the NBA. Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and one other player we're going to talk about here in a second. But Giannis is excellent this year. Just an excellent, excellent player. Giannis Antetokounmpo. 30 best NBA players. I think Giannis is number 3 overall. Number 2 best player in the NBA. Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic was the best player in the NBA in the 2020-2021 season. I think that when he is at his peak, with the healthy team around him especially, but at his peak, Nikola Jokic is only really topped at this point in time in overall greatness by one other player in the NBA. Nikola Jokic, while he might not be Giannis on defense, he is more Marc Gasol than people want to give him credit for. He's not 2012, 2013 Defensive Player of the Year Marc Gasol, but he is very much one of the smartest defensive basketball minds in the NBA. Smartest minds in the NBA, period. I think an IQ level, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and Chris Paul may be your 3 smartest players in the NBA. It's just the way he thinks the game. This year, Nikola Jokic averaged 26 points per game, 11 rebounds per game essentially, and 8.3 assists per game. Had a PER of 31.3, which led the NBA. His box plus minus this season was one of the highest ever. One of the 10 highest evers in regular season history. His win share per 48 was the 11th highest ever in NBA history. Jokic had a season that was not only just great, it was historic. He had one of the 10 best seasons in NBA history. But if you go look at Andy Bailey's timeline on Twitter, all time, people don't understand this. Nikola Jokic has the highest box plus minus in regular season NBA history behind Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And he has the 3rd highest box plus minus in playoff NBA history behind Michael Jordan and LeBron James. He is one of the single greatest players in the NBA. He is going to move further into the direction of being a top 20 NBA player of all time. Give him time. Jamal Murray comes back. But Nikola Jokic had a historic season. Nikola Jokic wasn't just the best offensive player in the NBA last year. Per the advanced data, he was laughably the best offensive player in the NBA last year. You mix that together with the fact that he is a plus defender. The dude in the playoffs in the first round averaged 30 points a game, 11 rebounds a game, and 5 assists per game on 50, 40, 90 shooting. He's the only other player to ever do 30 and 10 on 40% three-point shooting in the playoffs is Dirk Nowitzki. But he's the only player to ever do 30, 10, 5, 40, 90, 40, 50, 90. He's the only player in NBA history to ever do that. Yes, he got swept versus the Phoenix Suns, but it wasn't because of Jokic. So, Jokic, second best player in the NBA. The number one best player in the NBA, as it stands, is Kevin Durant. All you got to do is turn on the NBA playoffs, the Milwaukee Bucks series in Game 6. Kevin had 48, 47 points that game, and it was a masterpiece. The only reason that the Milwaukee Bucks did not make the NBA Finals is because Kevin Durant's toe was about this far over the three-point line. Kevin Durant simply is in another atmosphere. See, Kevin Durant is 32, I want to say. So, again, we got maybe a few more seasons of him being in his peak condition. But Kevin Durant came back from an Achilles injury this year and was just astounding. Just astounding. He was excellent. He was hurt during the season, but Kevin Durant is just clearly one of the greatest players of all time. He's likely in that top 15 category with Steph Curry as well. Now, once again, I think when healthy, LeBron James is still it. But again, LeBron James at 36 going on 37. I'm just not sure. I had a real hard time because, the Ringer had Nikola Jokic as the number one overall player in the NBA. I think based on last year, that's true. But even as I'm projecting going forward, that's why I said I have Klay Thompson on this list. I think when Klay Thompson comes back, he's the 14th best player in the NBA. I think that when you get Jamal Murray back, he's going to be in the top 30. I think he's going to edge toward being in that top 20, 21, 22 range when he gets back healthy. I think that Donovan Mitchell is 20, but he can easily move up to around 15. I think Chris Paul can slide back. I think Zion Williamson can move forward. I think there's players that can have some changes in here. But as of right now, it's Kevin Durant, top 10 best players in the NBA right now. Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, and Damien Lillard. From 11 to 20, Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Klay Thompson, Zion Williamson, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, Jayson Tatum, Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell. 21 to 30, Trae Young, Jaylen Brown, Zach Levine, Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, Rudy Gobert, Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook, Ja Morant, Ben Simmons. Y'all, let me know in the comment sections if you disagree. Let me know where you agree at. Let me know what you think. Compare this with Nick Rice's tier list that he had, where he said that Jokic is the number 7 overall player, where he said that Jamal Murray is is not even a top 30 player. Let me know what you're thinking. He got Luka Doncic all the way at number 5. Let me know where you are. Let me know where you are. He believes Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the NBA. I see an argument. I get it. I think Kevin Durant, I think Jokic is better. I think if you go ahead and look at my list online on my Twitter, Jokic is better for me. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is a great player. He gets all the respect. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic, 3 international superstars, I think they are all the face of the NBA going forward. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Swipe it, gang. Y'all, we got more great content coming out. Let's go. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Let's keep it moving, y'all.